All right, we're moving to one of the most iconic bowl games we have on the slate, the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, played on the Smurf turf. We have Utah State, a 2.5-point favorite against Georgia State. No MAC team involved in this one. I mean, that's what happens when you have, 12 Sun Belt teams making bowl games this year. So this game carries an over-under of 59.5 points, and it kicks off at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN, like I said, from Albertson Stadium in Boise. The under took a big hit on Wednesday. We're recording on Wednesday. It dropped from 62 all the way down to its 59 in some spots, and it looks like it could be going down more. Why is that? Well, you look at Georgia State, a couple things going against them. Number one, this is the longest trek for a bowl team that's not going to Hawaii. Hawaii is a cheat code because there's 2,000 miles between us, the mainland and the island. So, but yeah, if you're looking just on the continental U.S., Georgia State has the longest trek to Boise. They also are without their 1,300-yard rusher, Marcus Carroll, who transferred to Missouri, so he's not going to play in this game. They're also without the backup running back, their number one receiver, a starting tackle, and a few defenders. So this is a team that comes in this game pretty short-handed by all accounts here. They also carry the longest losing streak among bowl teams. They lost their last 5 games of the season after starting 6-1. So all the transfers is pretty troubling. You couple that with the losing streak, and to be honest, does Georgia State want anything to do with this game? Maybe. Maybe these backup kids come in. You see it all the time. Backup kids come in. They play really well. But I don't know, man. And you look at Utah State. Levi Williams, the quarterback, I assume will start this game. He's the one who, in the Idaho Potato Bowl a few years ago for Wyoming, rushed for over 200 yards. He can be a baller. But the Aggies have been playing musical chairs with their quarterback all this year. But I think the reason Williams gets the nod is because he's actually foregoing his final year of eligibility to join the Navy SEALs. I think that's something where they say, hey, we'll let you start your last game or at least play a majority of the snaps. I do believe that this is the guy that's going to suit up in this game. That's also a nice motivation boost for the team. One of your leaders, locker room leaders, is going off to serve for his country in a very difficult, Navy SEALs. And I think that's something you want to rally around and play for. So you're also looking at Utah State having the decided travel advantage, like I said. This one's pretty cut and dry. Utah State all the way for me.
First and foremost, Levi, thank you very much for your service. Looking forward to seeing you go through that process. That would be incredible to become a Navy SEAL. Obviously, it's not in the cards for me, that's for certain. A great amount of respect for those that are able to do that and have an interest and willingness to do so. So thank you for that. Less important, but for the topic of this conversation on the podcast here, this is my favorite non-New Year's Six bowl game Brett, and it isn't even close. I know the Duke's Mayo Bowl has gotten really popular recently, and I can understand why. It's a pretty iconic celebration. We have the Pop-Tart Bowl this year. It's getting some love. And again, that's fun too. But for me, I don't know if it's because I did grad school at Ohio University and I got a win in one of these games or what. But for me, it's really always been the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. That's just like a perfect bowl name, in my opinion. I absolutely love it. And it's another Mountain West versus Sun Belt bowl game here. I mean, this might create a little conference-wide rivalry as these two seek to potentially supplant the American as the best Group of 5 conference moving forward. These two teams took very different paths to bowl eligibility. You kind of touched on it there, Brett. Georgia State, they reached 6 wins in mid-October, and they didn't win the rest of the season, while Utah State, they needed overtime at New Mexico during rivalry week just to reach that 6-win mark. So despite the different paths taken to get to this point, both of these teams finished within a win of their projected preseason realistic expectations and within a couple points of their preseason power rating. So the model fairly dialed in on both these teams, even if the route to get to the end point was different than maybe we expected. With both defenses ranking in the sub-100s, even at full strength, the offenses should have their way in this one. And Brett, I wasn't surprised that the total was north of 60. I know you've said on Wednesday here, day of recording, it's come down a little bit already. So clearly things are going on. I'll go back to what we said on the last one. Proceed with caution.
Yep, but like I said, I'm going to stand by it. Utah State for me, I'd still bet it at this number, even though it's moved through quite a few points. I think 4.5 points at this point. This Georgia State team has all the writings of coming out flat, like you saw with Georgia Southern, their rival in their bowl game, who came in with their own 4-game skid. I'm going to be honest, I actually played a little bit of an alt line, minus 9.5 in favor of Utah State. I'd get that plus 215. I just put like quarter unit down on that, a little bit of pizza money, just to see where it goes, because I do think that this has the potential for Utah State to come out and just absolutely clobber a team that's been sliding and comes into this with zero momentum.